What's going on, guys? It's the TheDuelFactory once again with another video, and instead in the last video, I am going to be doing a zoo deck profile. It's a profile I've been wanting to do for a long time. I just haven't decided which build of zoo I was going to bring you first, but I figured I'd bring you my favorite build, which so far out of playtesting all three of them is the Dogmatika build. Now, arguably, I don't think the Dogmatika build is the best one currently. I think probably just playing pure would be the best way to go. There's also the Eldritch build and all those other fun builds, which I'll probably bring you as well just because I have the cards. But this is my favorite way to play the deck, and I figured I'd go ahead and show you what I was going to play. Also, I know the X2 Drop podcast didn't come out this week. I'm still working with Bingo HD and figuring out if we're just going to wait till next Monday or if we're going to release another episode later this week. Haven't forgotten, it hasn't been done yet. So with that out of the way, always remember to like, comment, subscribe. I do have the deck list deck list link in the description below. So if you don't want to watch the video, you can always watch that as well. So that way you can just see the list. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and get into the profile. So we'll start off with the zoo monsters. We play 3 copies of Whiptail. Not much to say here. Whiptail is actually a really good card. It's how you out a lot of different things too. For those of you who remember zoo format as well as the rest of us do. But yeah, 3 copies of Whiptail, 3 copies of Thoroughblade. Regrettably, we don't activate and resolve its effect as much because we don't want to lose the cards like Gamma. But it's one of the better zoo names that you can play, so that's why we're maxing on that. And we're also the best zoo name to honestly play. I play 3 copies of Ram. It's just the best one. It's the best one to put under your cards like Trident or Tiger Mortar or Chakanine because it helps you play through cards like Impermanence. That and it also gives the best stats turn 1 with being 2000 defense, so your Trident can't just get run over. So that's why we're playing 3 of him. And then the 1 of Zoo, I'm still playing Rapier. A lot of deck builds are actually getting this card because honestly, it loses to every single hand trap in the game. But I'm still playing it because in this list I'm still playing combo. So that's the main reason we play Rat. Plus, it's like I said, it's just another zoo name because ideally the only thing you really need turn 1 to start is just another zoo name. So there's that. And then the Dogmatika cards. We're playing 3 copies of Ecclesia. We're playing so many copies of her because I am playing Desires in this list and I want to be able to see one. And the reason this build's my favorite out of all of them is because cards like Dogmatika Ecclesia complement Dryden really well, and it's also a nice way to play through Nibiru. Because you can make a Dryden under, let's see, I believe it's, you can make Dryden with only using 3 summons, and then you can have Ecclesia as your 4 summon so you don't get Nibiru'd, and you can still end on like a Trident, Fleur-de-Lis pop, and a Dogmatika Punishment if you open that to your Servant. So I think it's one of the best ways to play Nibiru, and I just really like the engine itself, and as long as I can play it, I'm going to. So 3 copies of Ecclesia, and then 2 copies of Fleur-de-Lis. Honestly, you could get away with playing 1, but like I said, I'm playing Pot of Desires in my list, like a lot of them are, so I want to be able to at least search and resolve this once in a game. Then on to the hand traps. I'm only playing 2 sets of hand traps because I'm playing the Dogmatika engine. So we're playing 1 high impact end trap and Nibiru the Primal Being. Well, they're not ulti, so there's that. But we're playing 3 of this because it's the most high impact hand trap in the game right now next to Gamma, but we can't really play Gamma in a strategy like this. Because the ideal part of Gamma is not only is it high impact, but you can also kill the following turn and resolve Gamma, and this deck doesn't really do that. You're more or less Zeus control is the best way to describe this deck. So we're not playing Gamma, we're just playing that. And then the other hand trap I'm playing is a low impact hand trap, but it has synergy throughout the entire format, and that is copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Now, I am in the TCG, so the Genesis Impact currently isn't legal until a week after this video. But when Genesis Impact comes out and we can actually play against Dryton decks, I will probably be switching this to Draw and Lockbird, but that's just me. But that's it for the hand traps and the monster count. On to the spells. The best spell in the deck is Zoodiac Barrage. If we had more copies of this, I think this deck would definitely be a lot bigger contender than what it is already. But there's that. 3 copies of Tenki. They're just more copies of zoo cards. So 14 zoo monsters is what we're ideally playing in our list, and you only have to see 1 to play. My favorite spell card, 3 copies of Nadir Servant. The more and more I play this card, it gets more and more busted every single time. Like, what you're able to do with this card is just insane. And I want it to be where you see all 3 of them. Hold on. There we go, yeah. But Nadir Servant, 3 copies of that card. Like, it's just, the card's insane. There's not much else to put it. to put towards it. 3 copies of Desires. Like I said, you just want to resolve it once, just then you want to see it. So that's why we're playing 3 copies. 2 copies of Pot of Desires. This would probably resolve more for me if the second copy I had was ulti, but I only have 1 ulti, so that's why we're playing Secrets. But I feel like you should be able to play this card in this deck because theoretically this card is very, very good in Zoo because all you want to do is be able to grind your opponent out because once you run out of Zoo cards, the game's over. And normally the games don't last that long, but as the format gets grindier and grindier, I think this card becomes more necessary. Plus, it's really good in the Outlaws matchup because you have a hard Outlaws matchup already. This just makes it easier. The utility card of choice is 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone because Eldritch is my hardest matchup. I'm not playing Book of Moon right now. I haven't really got onto that train. But this card has so much utility across the board. That's why we're playing it right now. And then an honorary Zoo card, Monster Reborn. That's the whole reason why it's in here. Then on to the traps. We'll play 2 copies of Dogmatika Punishments. Not much to say about this card. It's double pop and it's really good, backed by Dryden Zeus. And then the 1 copy of Combo. It's just like Avarice, but you can send it off ret. Usually when you resolve it, the game's over. So there's that. And that is the main deck. It is 40. On to the extra deck. The whole reason to play the deck, honestly, is 2 copies of Zeus. More or less, Zeus no longer the 1 card, draw a bunch of cards combo. It is now, honestly, Zeus control. Turn 1, you play by basically doing Dryden control, but then every turn after that, especially when you're going second, this is the card you make. For those of you who don't know, it can be laid over any XYZ material, any XYZ that's done battle this turn, and then once per turn during your player's turn, you can detach 2 cards from this card. And then, well, actually, it's not a hard once per turn, keep that in mind. And it's not once per turn, you can do it multiple times. It's kind of like Excite Night, but better. But you send all cards other than this one to this, on both sides, both players' side of the field to the graveyard. So this card is just insane. It's everything Zeus. It's everything Zoo could have wanted. The 1 copy of Dryden, more or less, all you're doing is recycling this card and playing Zeus every single turn. That's all you're doing. And then because if you run out of Zoo cards, the game's over, we max out on the, I think, utility, the ones that are most important. So 3 copies of Tiger Mortar. This is just basically how you get to keep reusing Dryden every single turn. And then 3 copies of Chocodine. This is how you get to bring back Dryden every single turn. We do play 2 copies of Borbo. Now that it's Zeus control, I think this card's very important. You have to play 2. And right now I'm only playing 1 copy of Hammer Kong. I've seen people make the argument where you should be able to play 2, but I think 1 is fine for now. Mainly because 1, you need it for the additional name. 2, it's really good in the mirror match when you set up the Dryden Hammer Kong play. And then, like I said, it's just another name, so that's why we're also playing it. I'm playing 1 copy of Espinato. You need a way to be able to push for game with your cards on field, because like I said, that's something your deck struggles with. So being able to bring back a free XYZ monster and then overlay with Espinato for a free 2500 and does piercing as well, the card's really important to your strategy. And then for the 2 cards that we send off now to your servant, 1 copy of Ints and 1 copy of Titaniclad. Ints for breaking board, Titaniclads for sending up turn 1 boards. And like I said, we're playing copies of Pot of Avarice, so we can recycle it if we need to after we resolve Nadir Servant. But ideally, you should only have to resolve Nadir Servant once, and the game should be over. And that was my Dogmatika Zoo deck profile. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you guys think. I'll probably be hosting a couple different Zoo lists. I do want to post some Phantom Knight lists because I think Phantom Knight's a really cool deck right now that's just people aren't playing it. And then I've been really liking the Time Thief cards a lot, especially with the new announcements of the ones that come in the premium pack or whatever it's called. And the deck can do some really cool stuff right now. So I think I'm going to bring you a profile of that. Don't forget, at some point, we'll be dropping the new episode of X2 Drop. Other than that, though, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.